Hello, everyone, and welcome aboard the Walt Disney World Transportation System.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Double Dose of Disney podcast. As always, my name is Brittany, and I am joined here by my happily ever after loving husband, Tony. This week's episode of the podcast, we are talking all about many people's favorite part of the day at Walt Disney World, which is the nighttime. Not because Walt Disney World isn't amazing, it is, but Disney's evening fireworks and shows, or what would you say, nighttime shows in particular? Spectaculars.
Say that intro one more time. What was it? What husband?
Happily ever after loving husband.
Happily ever after loving husband. Got a ring.
It does have a ring.
One.
Yeah. But we're talking tonight all about like the nighttime shows at Walt Disney World. Obviously, from the intro, you know that Tony's favorite show is Happily Ever After. Mine is probably Fantasmic, only because my pal Mickey. But we're gonna talk.
We did that in a previous episode. Which
would you rather?
Skip?
Yeah, or which would you skip? Yeah. So tonight we're talking all about, or today. We're talking all about the current shows in each of the parks, sharing some of our favorite memories from evenings at Disney, and a few like little known facts, as well as some tips on like where you should watch it from in each park.
So moving back to what you just glazed over, you said you would skip Happily Ever After.
Well, you know, I just really love Mickey Mouse, and from our last trip to Disney, we all know that I bawled my eyes out during Fantasmic, so there's just like an emotional connection there. But
that was after. That was the after effect. The first effect was the Taylor
losing
Swift
my mind
fangirl.
Oh, Mickey!
And the guys behind us looking at us like, isn't she like 40 years old?
I'm not 40. I'm 36.
Pretty dark gloves, lady.
Yeah. No, but I don't know. Like, I love Happily Ever After. Don't get me wrong. I love the fireworks shows at Magic Kingdom, but it's just like the show at Hollywood Studios is just amazing, you know. But we haven't seen Happily Ever After since our first trip. So you ready to get into it?
Everything changes every trip, every year.
True. Very true. You ready to get into it?
Ready.
Okay. So we're going to start at the Magic Kingdom. Currently, obviously, the Magic Kingdom has Happily Ever After that's playing on nights when there's not like special events or something like that. Like tonight, for example, there's a Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, so they're not showing Happily Ever After. But typically, Happily Ever After runs each evening at 8 p.m. It varies between 8 and 9 p.m. just depending on like the time of year. The runtime for the show is 18 minutes. A little history behind the show is that the show started in 2017 and it ran until 2021. And then Disney was like, hey, we're going to replace the show with Enchantment for the 50th anniversary. And people were like, no, I hate Enchantment. I actually loved Enchantment because it had some like historical footage of Walt and things like that. But Happily Ever After came back on April 3rd, 2023, and people were like absolutely in love with it. I love this show. Don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying like Enchantment was
Disney
great too.
brings something back. They know they were getting a whole bunch of crap for it.
Right.
They don't bring anything back. They just move on and go with something new.
Yeah, and kind of like as a sidebar, like Disney did a lot of things during the 50th anniversary. I think, okay, so we're obviously huge Disney nerds, but Disney fans in general have a history of like being very like, what would you say, like having high expectations for the things that Disney does. So Disney caught a lot of flack during the 50th anniversary for different things, and Enchantment was one of them. So they kind of modified it toward the end of the 50th anniversary, but ultimately they ended up bringing Happily Ever After back. And as a side note, starting in 2024, Enchantment will be the fireworks show. If you pay extra to go to like an after hours event at Magic Kingdom, the fireworks show that you would see would be Enchantment instead of Happily Ever After.
I just cannot believe it's 18 minutes.
I know it.
It feels like over half an hour.
No, to me it feels very long. Yeah, you've got like projection mapping on the castles. You've got projections down Main Street, which that's a new element that they added after when it came back for 2023. You've also got like the fireworks in the sky. It's an amazing show. I absolutely love the music to it. Do not get me wrong. Like I listen to Happily Ever After's like audio all the time when I'm working, but it's an amazing show.
So where do you sit?
Well, I guess it depends. So if it's your first time seeing the show, I will say my first time seeing the show recommendation would probably be from the Castle Hub.
Yeah, you want to be as close as possible.
But you're going to miss the projections down Main Street
but
if you
it's
do
your
that.
first time like us, you want to be up there, front row.
Right.
Projections is kind of like I've seen it before, but now I want to be kind of see it all.
Yeah.
But first time you want to be at the castle.
Yeah, so I would recommend the Castle Hub. With that said, when you go to watch it from the Castle Hub, you're gonna have to get to
An hour.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get to the show about an hour ahead of time.
Unless you're gonna be the people like us, we don't care. We'll make a way. Well, there's no way.
When we were watching Enchantment one time, we got there early because I wanted to be able to see the footage of Walt as close up as possible. So we got to the Castle Hub. And if you don't know, the Castle Hub is really just like the central area of Main Street right in front of the castle where kind of like all of the...
It's a roundabout.
Yeah, all of the, quote, spokes in the wheel of the Magic Kingdom meet up. And we got there, I guess it was probably like 45 minutes before the show.
Maybe.
But what we did was we mobile ordered our food and we had eaten most of it, but we had I think like some chips or something left that we were just eating. So we just like we're eating there. You could also go to like Main Street Confectionery and get like popcorn or something, and then it kind of helps pass the time while you're waiting for the show.
The fact of the matter is, people, you can go as early or late as you want.
Right.
Because in Disney, people are rude. I mean, they will prop up an umbrella 5 minutes before the show, squeeze in there, bump your kids.
No, they'll put their kids up on their shoulders in front of you.
Yawning on your shoulder. So, I mean, you can go as late as you want. You can still get a spot. You're supposed to be those people.
Yeah.
But you can definitely squeeze in anywhere you want.
No, yeah, you definitely can. Like, I would not like to be that person, but
in the
yeah,
last
no, you
parade
definitely
we were
can.
at over there, we had like awesome. We're by a trash can. No one's gonna be here. We were, we just snuck in the last 10, 15 minutes, and then we got 3 couples of people squeezing their kids in front of us, where we can sit our cup on top of their head. One lady puts her umbrella up next to us. We can't even see half of it.
Right.
So,
No.
I mean, there's definitely those people at Disney. We don't like to be those people.
Yeah, no, and I totally agree. Sorry. If you, I would recommend getting there, 45 minutes early.
A little bit of etiquette.
1000%. And then, I would say, where would you say you want to, if you want to watch the show, but you don't really want to, lose time, from riding attractions or something else,
and every single
where would you watch
if you
it?
watch on YouTube or anything now, anybody who streams, they cruise in the last 20 minutes, sit halfway back on Main Street. You can go in and out of the stores, get drinks, get snacks,
So that's
and then you can watch all the projections, and you can see everything, and it's not...
That's where you would watch it from?
It's just it's kind of a nightmare trying to figure out where, and they block so much stuff off now.
Yeah,
There's
that's
so
what I
many
was
people
gonna say.
yelling at you can't stand here, you can't stand there, so much tape and everything. Unless you get there really early, it's kind of a nightmare. You can't really jump in stress-free in the front. It just
I would personally recommend, if you want to watch the show, but you don't want to lose time watching it, you can actually watch a show from anywhere in the Magic Kingdom. You're still going to see the fireworks. You're still going to hear the audio. The only thing is you're not going to see the projections. We watched it from Liberty Square and Frontierland one time, and that was a really cool vantage point. Yeah, but there was also a really cool vantage point last time when we were going to watch, I think it was Enchantment that we were going to watch. We were walking from Liberty Square into the Castle Hub, and you could still see the projections on the side of the castle.
So
do you remember that?
Never a first-time viewers ever.
No, I would not say for a first time.
Now we're on someone who's seen it at least once.
Yeah.
Because then if you're going from there, go on Big Thunder Mountain and watch it on the ride.
True.
When no one's there.
Or if you are someone who, maybe there are people that are first-time guests that are I don't really care about seeing the projections. I want to ride rides. Yeah. Then I would say you could also watch it from Tomorrowland. You'll just see the fireworks. What would be really good... Sorry. I'm holding Henley right now, and she's going into a deep sleep. Anyway, I would say that if you you can also watch it from Tomorrowland. A cool place to watch it from too, if you don't care about seeing it perfectly, is also watching it riding the People Mover and catching it while you're riding the People Mover.
Yeah, all those you have to get extremely lucky in the right spots. And
True.
Time it right, but yeah.
One of the things that Disney does for this show is they also have fireworks dessert parties. So they have 3 different fireworks dessert parties. They have the pre-party, which is for any of them, you're going to enjoy like unlimited desserts, and then cocktails for 21 and up, and cheese. But you can do.
I still want to do one of those. Not to mention, because in the Magic Kingdom, you can't just like have a beer somewhere, so that'd be cool.
That's
At
true.
the end of the night, you've been walking 64 miles, get dessert, have a glass of wine or a beer, and just relax, and not have to be sitting in a crowd still.
Right.
Even if it's not the best experience for some reason, still gotta do it at least once.
Yeah, so they have the pre-party where you can watch. You can go to Tomorrowland Terrace before the party or before the fireworks. I'm sorry. You would enjoy cocktails and desserts and everything like that at Tomorrowland Terrace, and then you'll be escorted by a cast member to a reserved seating area in the Castle Hub to watch the show. The cost for that is $99 to $109, just depending on the night per adult, and then $59 per child. There's also one that's called Seats and Suites, and that is where you can enjoy the desserts and the cocktails and everything during the show, and then you'll also be able to sit at Tomorrowland Terrace and watch the fireworks from there. That one's a little bit more expensive. It's $119 to $129. I don't know what the vantage point from Tomorrowland Terrace is to make it like, is it worth it to sit there? Because I think it would be cool to enjoy the desserts and everything during the fireworks, but is it worth it to pay like it's only $10 more to watch it from there? I
probably would not do any of these more than one time.
No, I agree.
But for a special time, an occasion, something, a one and done, I would do anything once.
Yeah. And then they also have the post-party, which is the exact same thing as the pre-party. You're just going to Tomorrowland Terrace to be escorted by a cast member to watch the show, and then you come back to Tomorrowland Terrace after the show, and you'll enjoy your desserts and everything there. The cost for that, again, is $99 to $109 per adult, and then $59 per child. I kind of thought about it.
Don't bring your kids to this. Just go, just you and your spouse.
Or bring your children to it when they're under 3, so you don't have to pay for them.
Always bring your kids when they're under 3.
Exactly.
Save a lot of money.
Yeah, so I actually...
Check back in a few months after we go, and we'll see what we say about that.
I actually was thinking, and I was like, I was like, maybe we book this for our next trip, because then we would have, like, guaranteed seating. But then we also talked about, too, like, since the girls are going to be smaller, obviously, like, we may want to have, like, an easy escape route out of the parks after the fireworks, not getting, like, in the congestion. So that's another tip too about the fireworks at Magic Kingdom. After the fireworks, because there's really like one exit at the Magic Kingdom, everyone kind of like goes out at the same time. So if you're looking to like avoid the crowds and everything like that and the congestion of transportation, I would recommend like going into the park while everybody else is going out. You can get on attractions. Typically the line time is a little bit less. Not always. We got stuck in a long line at Space Mountain one time. But
at the end of the day, do not expect to just kind of wing it. Like,
have a plan, yeah.
It's going to be kind of miserable, especially if you don't know where you can even watch it from.
Right.
Don't walk into it blind the last minute, because it will not be fun. You're going to get people telling you can't go here, tape here, keep walking here. Just make sure you know where you're going, where you want to be.
If you had to share like your favorite memory from watching fireworks at the Magic Kingdom, where would you say?
Right in front.
That would be your favorite?
The first time or two we did right in front.
My favorite, I guess, you want to talk about that the first time we watched it? Because that's kind of like why you love this show so much, right?
When you were crying?
No, the first time we ever watched it, when we were ever at Disney. I cry every time.
And that we were not right in front.
We were in front. We were at the Castle Hub, so it was 2020. Tony had just gotten laid off from his job. We shared that multiple times, and we were like, do we go or not? And we felt the nudge to go, and we were like, okay. And then it was like, reach out and find your happily ever after. This is like music and everything, and it just felt like that whole day just felt like God's like wink of like, this is where you're supposed to be. And we didn't know at the time, but obviously like we needed Disney like a lot in the next few months because it was COVID and everything like that, and Disney's just been like this bright light for us. And so every time we watch Happily Ever After now, like we always talk about, like we'll never forget that how we felt watching this show from there.
Yeah, you can look at anything and be like, wow, well this is it's a different amusement park. This is they got better fireworks.
They do more,
food and whatever. That's an afterthought. Like,
right.
This is about, like, literally, like, the bubble of staying in a place of, like,
joy. You
get to choose to be happy. You get to choose to live outside of, like, norms and put your phones down and be with the people you are and, like, not just be,
you get to be kids.
A hamster wheel of the world right now.
Right.
You get to be here. And that's where we literally did stay the entire time during COVID in the mental space of of staying happy.
Yeah.
And it was perfect timing. But yeah, it was Disney means way more than us than just a fun little place to go vacation.
No, when we say that Disney is our favorite place to go, like we truly, truly, truly mean that. Like with every when I'm saying Disney is my favorite place in the world, like I mean that with like every like ounce of like of what I'm saying. It's not just like something to be dramatic, but like we truly mean that. Like, and so watching that show, I remember we were watching from the Castle Hub. I think we were on the right side of the Castle Hub, and there was a group of like Brazilian cheerleaders or something in front of us, and we just kind of slid in. Back then, there was like another show that kind of would like play off of Happily Ever After. So we were watching Big Thunder Mountain. It was our anniversary. No, we were riding Big Thunder Mountain. The show started. We got to see fireworks from Big Thunder Mountain. And then we literally like ran. You're not supposed to run. We ran across the park.
You can fast trot all you want.
Yeah, we ran across the park and got to the Castle Hub and found a spot and watched the show. And it was so good. Like I obviously cried the entire time. I always cry at Disney, but it was so magical. I would say my favorite is that too. I really loved going to watch Enchantment when we were there in September a couple of years ago, because there was it was just like a full circle moment for me where we were watching Enchantment, and I had been on Facebook and I saw Facebook memories, and it was like 4 years ago that day. I was like, we were really battling, like I went through a season of like overcoming anxiety and depression. We were really battling anxiety and depression, and it was like I was working so hard to like get out of that season. We were working so hard, to get out of that season, because Tony was so amazing and supportive. And then the next few years, it was just like all about like creating this life that I truly love with every ounce of my being that I have, and getting to stand in front of the Castle Hub and seeing that like 4 years ago I was struggling so bad, and I had all of these thoughts that I wouldn't be here. And then all of a sudden, like 4 years later, it can make me cry right now. Like all of a sudden, 4 years later, like I'm in my favorite place on earth, working my dream job, like doing all of these things. And it was like, that's what this place exists for. And it just like, and like seeing Walt and the castle and everything, like I think I like ugly cried. I remember just having like tears running down my neck. Like I was crying so hard the entire show. So that's probably my favorite memory. But I also love the first time we ever saw Happily Ever After too.
Yeah. First, second times you can't top.
True.
Like everybody always says, don't try to emulate your first times. But every single time is so much different and crazy in its own way. Yeah,
I'm sure when we go to Disney when we go to Disney this time, I'm sure like we will have so many memories, because it won't just be the two of us anymore. Yeah. Although we love those trips.
Well, I guess now they're so young, but when they get a little older, we see them living through them, experiencing everything.
Yeah. Well, but right now it's like the coolest thing with them is like they're mesmerized by lights, and I think to myself like
they can't see.
I think to myself, how cool is it? Like a light, like to us, like we just look at it and we're like, whatever. But to them, it's like the most amazing thing they've seen in the world.
It's called overstimulation.
Okay, so on to Epcot. Epcot is currently showing Luminous: The Symphony of Us. It's taking place right now at 9:30 p.m. Typically, it takes place at 9 p.m. each night. And the runtime for this show is a little bit shorter. It's 16 minutes. This show actually just started last week on December 5th. And this show uses fireworks, it uses lights, and it uses water effects. For this show, you can really see it from anywhere around World Showcase. We haven't gotten to see it yet. We will in February. But because there's not like projections in one particular area, you're really good to see it from anywhere. So what tips do you have about watching fireworks at Epcot?
This one's tricky too, though, because I mean, you've got a railing around the whole place,
right?
You're not going 3 deep to try to watch this.
True.
Thing. So you've got to find somewhere.
Yeah.
The bridges are fun, like by Italy.
Yeah.
So
in France.
So if you can like hang out there, I don't know how good the show is from there. We've seen a couple from there.
I think we watched Harmonious from there last time. So Harmonious was the show that was airing. The Harmonious was a show that was going on before Luminous. We loved Harmonious.
I think around the U.S. pavilions, a lot of times we're kind of somewhere over there.
Yeah, because it's very central. The U.S. pavilion is very central to everything.
Just have somebody go put a stroller in the front of the railing somewhere or something.
Right. We watched it from the first time we ever went to Epcot. We watched Epcot Forever from Spice Road Table. There's a dining package you can get. It's Spice Road Table or Rose and Crown. You can book a dining package and watch the fireworks from there. I don't necessarily think that either of those options is really worth it because, like Tony said, you can watch it from anywhere around World Showcase as long as you're up against the railing. And we've watched it from, I think Morocco one time. You and I just like grabbed, like, it was Harmonious and we just kind of grabbed a spot along the railing. We've also watched it from the bridge in France. We watched it from Germany one time with our friends. We just got out of Beer Garden. And that wasn't bad either. Like, we weren't up against the railing that time, but I don't remember bad viewing.
You mean 15 minutes.
Yeah, I was gonna say
majority
it's
of people,
so big.
There's a lot of people who don't even care to watch it. They're still just eating and drinking and cruising around. So,
yeah,
I mean, it's not even close to
Magic Kingdom.
Happily Ever After.
Yeah, I think this show looks really cool. We've watched it a couple times on live streams. I've heard from people, they say it feels sad when you're watching. It's not as upbeat. Harmonious was amazing, but I think Luminous is cool, like with like the fountains and everything like that. What would you say is your favorite memory from watching the fireworks at Epcot? Do you have one?
I just think I've always said they have more fireworks.
Yeah, they do.
The last show they had
Harmonious.
Like it was like a war. I mean, the smoke coming off of that place every time. We saw it from other parks.
True, we saw it from Hollywood Studios one
like,
time.
Dang, we should have been over there. Looks like a better show than we're watching over here.
Yeah, I would say my favorite memory we watched Epcot Forever the first time we went to Epcot, and we were sitting at Spice Road Table. I wasn't like a huge fan of the experience of Spice Road Table just because I didn't feel like it was necessarily worth it, but we were sitting there and it was cool because I was like, okay, 20 something years ago, I was here with my family and I was just like crying, like again, like full circle moment. So those things are really cool to me. I also think it was really fun. On our last trip, we did a night where we kind of had like an extra day of park tickets and we just did like a date night at Epcot. And we went into Epcot and we were like filming it for like TikTok of like kind of doing a progressive dinner around Epcot or around World Showcase. And we sat at, or we watched the fireworks. That's the time we watched the fireworks from the bridge in France. And that was really fun because it was just like Tony said, like it was like maybe 5 to 10 minutes before the show. Like
a lot, I would say over half the people literally just kind of stop where they're at. And
yeah.
So I mean, but if you want to like kind of like prop your legs up on the railing and sit there,
true,
you will just stop.
Like, I think we would like we were doing a progressive dinner and we were like putting everything into a randomizer to let it choose like which countries we've got like different courses from. So we were at the UK, we were supposed to be grabbing desserts. Well, there's no desserts in the UK. So we went into this like shop and Tony found these like, what were they like?
Save the day.
They were chocolate filled, like liqueur filled chocolates. I think they were like whiskey filled chocolates
like
or something.
Christmas chocolate box you get from not around here.
Yeah, and it was so fun, and it was just really random that we got those, and then we just like grabbed a spot. We like went and got like a beer and wine, and then like grabbed a spot.
We both got a beer and a wine.
We did?
No.
I was gonna say I don't drink beer, but we got like a beer and a wine, and we just like watched it from the bridge, and that was so fun.
Overall, less stressful at Epcot.
1,000%. Yeah.
It's a park that's more laid back to begin with, so the fireworks just hand in hand kind of adds to it.
Yeah, no, 1,000%. It definitely is way less stressful over there. So, going over to Hollywood Studios actually has 2 nighttime shows. They have Fantasmic, which currently is showing at 7:30 and 9:30 each night, but the times really vary depending on the time of year, like as to how many shows there's going to be, what time it's airing out, and all that stuff. Fantasmic's a little bit of a longer show. It's 29 minutes. This show actually started at Walt Disney World in the 90s, so I believe it started in 1998. This show uses like live characters, lights, projections, water effects. And the show takes place in the Hollywood Hills Amphitheater, which actually holds 10,000 people, which is crazy to me because the show like gets like packed every single night.
Never really thought about it until now, but yeah, it's the only one that makes sense. Hollywood Studios, like,
What?
That it would have live actors.
Oh yeah, that's true.
The
I guess
only show that has a live person that you're seeing.
Yeah, and that's
The
what
rest
I
are
really
projections
love
and
about that show.
Fireworks.
It has way less fireworks. It has projections with like water. There's also like a really cool. I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but there's like live like flow like boats and like there's boats with live actors on them. I'll say that. And like it's really really cool. Our first time watching it was our last trip because in 2020 it was canceled because of like the there was high winds. And so they had to cancel it, and then after that it just wasn't running. So we got to watch it this last trip, and like Tony said, like the show started and I was like like fangirling like Taylor Swift, and like I'm watching a Taylor Swift show, and then at the end I was just like bawling, crying. No, I would not. I'm not a Swiftie, but
yeah.
I mean like, you know, like in general.
Travis Kelce would.
Tony's like he's like
you watch if you are an NFL fan, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
obnoxiously annoying right now.
Yeah, Tony is like not a fan of that, but I think it's like for watching this show. So when we went, there were two shows. My biggest tip would be if there are two shows running, go to the second show if you can. Obviously, if you have little ones and you need to get them to bed, then go to the first show. Go to the second show if you can. And here's why. Because a lot of people are going to go into the show and the wait times in the parks are going to drop. We basically walked on to Rise of the Resistance. I want to say it was like a 20-minute wait, but the queue was like moving the whole time. Maybe. Yeah, and we walked on to Rise of the Resistance during the first showing. And then I think we went and rode Rock and Roller Coaster. And then we went to the Hollywood Hills Amphitheater to watch Fantasmic. We got to Fantasmic like maybe 10 minutes before it started, and we're like the third row back in the middle section. Like it was such a cool experience. So I would recommend going to the second show if you can. If not, if there's only one show and you want a good viewing spot or it's a crowded day, I would recommend getting to the show about 30 minutes before just so I guarantee you're getting a good spot.
Look, you're going here to spend a lot of money and a lot of time. They play either way.
Yeah.
Go to the second show. And this one is actually, it's a half hour long.
Yeah, and so at Hollywood Studios, there's also the Hollywood Studios Fantasmic dining package. I forgot about that. So you can pay like a fixed price and you can dine at like, I think it's 5 different like table service dining locations. You can go for either lunch or dinner. You pay a specific price. You eat at the restaurant, so you get like a prefix meal basically. And then you have a reserved viewing spot for the show. I've heard mixed reviews on whether or not that's really worth it.
For this show, nah.
Yeah, unless it's like super
you're
crowded.
sitting in a stadium seating there.
Right.
Like you're not sitting at some fancy
and again,
table with
10,000
some cozy
people.
chairs. Like you're getting a reserved metal bench.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, I would just get to the show early. I don't know, like I would definitely prioritize this show if you can. The other show that's going on in Hollywood Studios is Wonderful World of Animation. This is a shorter show. So this recurs each night on the, what is that called? The Grauman, the Chinese Theater. And this show runs for 12 minutes. The show actually started in 2019 and it just uses projections on the Chinese Theater. I want to say that there's like flares of fireworks that go off too. It's a cool storyline, but this is being very honest, this is the show that we were watching. Fantasmic hadn't returned yet, and we were like, oh, we want to watch a nighttime show at Hollywood Studios. We're watching that show, and then all of a sudden Harmonious starts going off at Epcot, and we're like looking behind us and we're like, man, we wish we were at Epcot watching that show. So nothing against Wonderful World of Animation. It tells a really cool story, but if you had to,
it's just a good filler.
Yeah, no, I would definitely agree.
Cruising by in, the snack, drinking a beer, whatever. It's a good little filler to sit there and
there's not a ton of people watching it. It's really easy to watch if you're just walking through the area. Watch it, but I wouldn't give up like riding attractions for it or anything like that. So, what would you say you have like a favorite memory from Hollywood Studios from watching shows?
I was just envisioning watching that one last time. Actually, they were talking about it.
Which one? Wonderful World of Animation?
Yeah, and they changed it again, right? It's not the same one we saw.
I don't think so. Oh, yeah. No, I think you're right. And
it's just different. It's kind of like the next one we're talking about, like the tree of life, right?
Yeah, I didn't put the Tree of Life on there,
We're
but
not talking about, okay.
we can talk about it. No, because the Tree of Life's not actually running right now.
Not running.
So no, I wasn't going to talk about the Tree of Life, but over at Animal Kingdom, sometimes there'll be a Tree of Life projection show that's running. The Tree of Life is really cool because there's 125 carved statues in the Tree of Life, and so at night they project things up onto the tree, and then like the different animals like kind of like come to life. Like they'll highlight an animal and it comes to life. It's a cool show, but again, like Tony and I have talked about before, it's a really like if you're walking through Animal Kingdom and you like stop to see it, like you don't have to take time out to like get a good spot, you know?
I could have swore I put that in the notes somewhere. Tree of Life.
Maybe you did. Oh, maybe you like the art like.
That was a joke.
Huh?
I didn't write the notes.
Oh, I was like, oh, maybe you did. But no, yeah, I always write the notes. But like the Tree of Life is cool too. I miss so badly, and I tell Tony about it all the time. River of Lights at Animal Kingdom was such a cool and underrated show. It was the nighttime show at Animal Kingdom because they don't want to have any shows that have fireworks that go off. So there's like is that an amphitheater there at Animal Kingdom? What's that considered on the water? Like the seating area?
I guess.
So,
I don't know what else you'd call it. I don't know.
Yeah, there's like an
Stadium seating?
Yeah, there's like an amphitheater, stadium seating, whatever you call it, on the water. And then they would have like Disney music playing, obviously, and there would be like water that would shoot up in there, and they would do projections off the water. That was such a cool show. They never brought it back after COVID. So the only show that runs at Animal Kingdom is Tree of Life, and it really just kind of depends on the time of year as to when they're running it.
Blame COVID again.
Wah, wah,
Got us
wah.
again.
Yeah. So, of the two shows, which one would you, or of like, do you like Fantasmic?
Do I like it or do I prefer it over another one?
Well, I know you don't prefer
Obviously,
it.
I like Fantasmic.
Yeah.
And I've only seen it probably 2 times.
You've only seen it once.
Only seen it once. Oh yeah, because it wouldn't.
You've seen The Wonderful World of Animation 2 times.
Well, yeah, that's not even a full show. To me.
Right,
That's
right.
just like a small nightcap type of thing. Like,
Yeah.
Kind of like the Tree of Life.
True.
It's a cute thing you walk out of the park.
Yeah, and I'd say, oh, let me share my favorite memories from Fantasmic, but I've already told you because we've only seen it once, and I lost my mind.
Yeah, Fantasmic is still number 2 to me.
Behind Happily Ever After.
Yeah. There's just so much more going on. Fantasmic just has a bunch of water effects too. It's cool, but like there's very minimal fireworks.
There's a dragon.
Minimal fireworks.
Live actors. There are boats. It is a cool show.
And nobody's singing. It's all stage singing. Okay.
Okay, but look.
I'm ruining it for people.
I'm not going to ruin it, but all I'm going to say is if you love Mickey and he pops up out of nowhere, you're like, my best friend just popped up out of my imagination. And it's a really cool show because Mickey's fighting like negative thoughts.
That's the other
in his
thing too, though.
imagination.
If you're a smaller kid, you're not even going to get what's going on.
No,
it's
that's
be
very
cool,
true.
But you will not get the storyline. It's over the top. It's like you got to be 15, 20 years old to even understand what's going on.
This may be an underrated thought,
true,
but
like,
I
what's
don't know that younger ones wouldn't be scared of the scenes in this show.
Yeah, it's kind of like a dark villain-ish.
It's themed off of Fantasia, and if you've seen the movie Fantasia, it's like
fighting off your evil thoughts, or
right,
kind of like the
evil thoughts in your mind.
Yeah, it's kind of
it's deep,
kind of weird.
It's well, if you've ever seen Fantasia before,
I mean,
it's
like it, but it I don't know.
And if you've ever seen Fantasia before, it's Mickey's fever dream, and that's exactly what Fantasmic is too. I love it. I love like the story behind it, but again, like, are our kids gonna like it? They're probably gonna like Happily Ever After.
If you're watching it at face value, you're not even trying to comprehend what's going on. Then you're like, oh, there's a bunch of characters.
Yeah, that's
so
really cool.
You're gonna enjoy it. But if you're really getting into it, like wow, this is like, it's kind of deep.
I would say though, out of all the parks, obviously Epcot has an adult element to it, but I would say Hollywood Studios is the park that Disney, I feel like, targets adults with. Like right now, Jollywood Nights is going on, and that seems like more of like an adult-centric like event. Like our kids, like our girls, like obviously they're too young to really enjoy that right now anyway, but like even if they were older, they wouldn't enjoy that as much. It's more adult themed. And so I think that Fantasmic may be like that same kind of like concept in some ways. But like Tony said, your kid's favorite character is still going to be in it. It's still playing like Disney music, so it's going to appeal to them in a different way than it would adults.
Another take on it. It's probably Disney has people who are like probably psychologists and all weird stuff to think of and kind of go through all these scenarios. But looking at that show, it's going to appeal to everybody too because the adults are going to get it. And the kids are just going to be...
That's what I just said.
Okay, I was thinking about it the entire time.
No, I said your kids. I said your kids are going to enjoy the music. They're going to enjoy the characters. You're going to appeal. It's going to appeal to you.
You're going to get it.
Right. Well, and a lot of times, like with Disney movies and stuff, there'll be like a deeper meaning than adults get that children don't. So, I think I obviously love Fantasmic. So, like when I was doing all this, putting all this together, I thought it'd be cool to talk about a few like facts about nighttime shows at Walt Disney World. So here is 4 facts. Ready? The first one is Disney is the largest consumer of fireworks in the world. It's the second largest purchaser of explosives right behind the U.S. military, which I've known
legally.
I've known that for a while, and I think since our first trip I read it in a book, and I tell it to Tony all the time. I actually tell it to anybody that'll listen, which I think is crazy. Also, each fireworks show costs about $33,000 nightly to put on. That's Happily Ever After costs $33,000. Luminous costs that. Fantasmic costs that, and like obviously like Wonderful World of Animation does.
How does Fantasmic cost $30,000 when there's no fireworks?
Because my thought process on that is because they're paying live actors
$10 an hour.
Well, yeah, but look at how many of them there are.
It is not $30,000.
And you've got like all of the like all of like the effects that go with it, like the special effects and everything that go with it.
Nah, we'll
Moving
fact check that
on.
when somebody tells that.
Tony will look that up, and we'll get back to you next week and let you know that's
$3,000.
true. But did you know that instead of gunpowder, Disney uses compressed air when launching their fireworks into the sky? That for 2 reasons. One, it allows the fireworks to launch higher, but also it doesn't create fumes that the guests have to breathe in. So I think that like
Disney has scientists behind their fireworks
1,000%.
I mean, because they know if it's like 16.25 knots coming at the northwest, we're good.
Yeah.
But if it's 17, we're screwed. You're not doing it tonight.
No, and that's what like Fantasmic, because of the live actors in Fantasmic. That's why it was canceled the night that we were there in 2020 that we were going to watch it. Because of the live actors, there is like it's a danger to people to be doing different things in the show. So that's why they canceled it. Like Tony said, they have scientists, meteorologists.
Spoiler or not, we didn't even talk about it. We're going to talk about what may or may not happen based on weather at Happily Ever After. Flying out of the side.
Oh, yeah, no, you don't. I mean, if you want to spoil that, you can.
Yeah, turn it off. You don't hear, but yeah, Tinkerbell. So if it's too windy, old Tinky's not going to come flying out of the side of
into a mattress.
Yeah, into a mattress.
So yeah, if you've never seen Happily Ever After before or a show at Magic Kingdom, Tinkerbell at one point she flies out of a window on Cinderella Castle across Main Street. Or I guess the Castle Hub.
We're helping
into a mattress.
Hey, some people probably know that happens and not to look for it. So now we're helping you out to look for it.
Make
sure you look for it.
Yeah, no, and that's one of my favorite things. Like that is one of my favorite things.
Cry moment too.
It is, and I will say every time we watch the show, even when we're watching it on live streams from home, I always think to myself, there are families that are there for the first time right now watching that and getting to see Tinkerbell flying out of the castle, and that's such a cool moment.
But now you know to look for it.
Yeah, now you know.
Spoiler, we're helping you out. We're helping you.
Yeah.
But if it's too windy and she can't fly into a mattress safely, they won't do it.
Yeah, no, and I feel like most of the time they still do it. Like, there's still a way, but
it's
like...
kind of a hurricane. She's getting out of that thing.
Yeah. Tank's flying into the mattress. But yeah, no, that's what they do. She flies out of a window into a mattress. The last one is during the spring and winter, if there's periods of less rain. So obviously in the fall and in the summertime, it's the rainy season at Walt Disney World. Disney will water down the pavement in Magic Kingdom to prevent any like fires from the fireworks. And over at Hollywood Studios, Disney decreases the amount of fireworks during Fantasmic so that they don't have any issues. At Epcot, they really don't have to worry about it because fireworks are shot off over like the World Showcase Lagoon, so it's not like a big concern anyway.
Just smoke inhalation.
Yeah.
It's like World War III every time in Epcot.
Yeah, no, it is.
They actually shoot them off from like every pavilion too, right? I
Uh,
think it's at the end.
yeah, and then they'll
Like
they'll light
flares
up the pavilions. There's a cool like add-ons that they do at Epcot if you're there for like New Year's Eve or 4th of July. There'll be like a tag at the end of the fireworks shows. And those are really cool because it always highlights like the different countries, or for 4th of July, it highlights obviously the American pavilion. So that's a really cool like add-on that they do. And there's typically for the holidays, there's typically be like at Magic Kingdom and Epcot for like New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, 4th of July, all of those things. There's going to be special fireworks shows like that will air. It'll be a tag or something like that, especially at Magic Kingdom. There's like a special fireworks show because Magic Kingdom kind of turns into like this really cool like party atmosphere on 4th of July and New Year's. We like will watch it laying in bed, like we'll watch it from vloggers that are in the parks, but they'll have like DJs and stuff. Yeah, but remember at Magic Kingdom they do it too. Like they'll do it in Frontierland and in Tomorrowland they'll have like DJs. But yeah, no, definitely at Epcot.
Family friendly, probably.
Yeah, and over at Epcot, if you're going like since it's Christmas time right now, if you're going to Epcot during New Year's Eve is kind of like the place to be, and every like when all of the countries around World Showcase begin to celebrate their New Year, Epcot will also do like a celebration in that country. So it becomes this like huge party where you just get to like walk from one pavilion to the next, like celebrating New Year's.
Overall, you just gotta know which ones you gotta plan for. Which shows you can just walk up in.
Yeah.
Which show you need to go to what time.
Yeah.
And overall, you can't skip any of them on your first one.
No, definitely not.
But you can if you've seen them before.
Yeah, and you can also too always like Magic Kingdom is a park that Magic Kingdom and Epcot both. You can watch them like from anywhere. So if it's not as big of a deal to you to see the projections up close at the castle, watch it from other places. Epcot, like Tony said, you can really like enjoy your evening and find a spot around the World Showcase Lagoon like 10 minutes before and you're good to go. So that is going to do it for this week's episode of the Double Dose of Disney podcast. As always, be sure to follow the Double Dose of Disney fam on both Instagram and TikTok to keep the fun rolling. And please leave us a rating or review on your favorite podcast platform. That will go so far to help us continue growing our audience. One of our big goals for 2024 is to continue creating podcasts, but also when we start going back to the parks, creating content as a family. So be sure to give us a follow over there, and we will see you right back here next week.